Pingan considered how the demonic creatures in the cultivation book had a voracious appetite for blood and frequently went insane. As a result, he thought that it was not a big deal if the dog eats the chicken, but it would be bad if it attacks Xiao Linger. With this in mind, Pingan tried asking Grandpa Morong what he would do with the black dog. Upon hearing the question, Grandpa Morong responded with a vivacious statement that he would bring the dog to the town. It was evident to Pingan that the black dog was a demonic beast, as he had suspected. Without hesitation, Pingan wanted Grandpa Morong to take the dog with him, and the grateful Grandpa Morong assured him that he would gather 10,000 disciples in 10 days. With the black dog in his arms, Grandpa Morong approached the gate and carried the worried black dog to go to town. As the black dog telepathically called for little fish, he was promised that he could simply enter the house at night in secrecy. Grandpa Morong departed the elderly Pingan household by taking to the skies, leaving Pingan anxious about whether Grandpa Morong could effectively perform the task he had given him. Concerned about the possibility of failure, Pingan considered accompanying Grandpa Morong. However, due to a glitch in the system, people could mistake his strength and be drawn to him, which could lead to a large following. He pondered the fact that he hasn't checked whether the system's bug affects other people as well. Ultimately, Pingan decided to delegate the work to Grandpa Morong out of fear of what the people would say if they failed to notice his tremendous aura. Meanwhile, in the Pingan sect, Grandpa Morong arrived with the black dog after visiting the residence of Pingan. Upon arrival, the black dog angrily addressed Grandpa Morong and said that taking him away from Pingan's house made him lose a lot of chances to get stronger. Grandpa Morong calmed the black dog down as he was trying to help him too. He warned the black dog that Pingan dislikes greedy people, and if he lingered at his house for too long, he might be ejected. Additionally, he told the black dog that if he aided Grandpa Morong in his mission, he would convey to Pingan some words of commendation that he assisted him in amassing 10,000 disciples. After hearing Grandpa Morong speak, the black dog finally understood why he was ejected from Pingan's home. He bowed down in front of Grandpa Morong, thanking him for helping him. A sect protective formation emerged from the body of the black dog, thanking the group for their assistance and promising to reward them. The black dog's spiritual energy filled the sect's protection formation, enabling it to repel an assault from the peak of the Mahayana realm despite being under attack. As a gesture of gratitude, the black dog offered the sect some weapons and gold because he couldn't use them himself. Grandpa Morong expressed gratitude to the black dog for the weapons and gold pieces and requested a favor to assist him in gathering disciples. Black Serpent transformed into his original form to help Grandpa Morong on his task, and Grandpa Morong mentioned that he hadn't seen the Black Serpent for a few days, noticing that he seemed to have gotten bigger. Together, Grandpa Morong and the Black Serpent traveled to the town. Long Outyen observed the Mahayana realm formation of the mountain sect's guardian dragon. However, he concluded that Pingan's decision to provide them with this potent defense must be incorrect. Shocked by this realization, Long Outyen began to doubt his belief that the senior's choice was always the right one. He assumed that these occurrences were tests that the senior made on a divine scale for the three parties. The Thousand Feather Empire was the first to fall because of its arrogance. Despite being given a second chance, they refused to change their ways. Long Outyen was startled to learn that he had passed the senior's test as a result of what he did while he pondered about the second test. After that, Long Outyen observed and guessed that the mountain sect would be the third test. As he discovered how precisely Pingan had arranged everything, his admiration for Pingan grew. Therefore, he made a call to a subordinate, ordering him to get him a grand gift, which the subordinates agreed to do. However, Long Outyen's servant questioned what kind of gift to purchase because he was unsure of his master's demands. To everyone's surprise, Long Outyen revealed to him a present fit for a person who resides at the very top of the mainland. Meanwhile, in Pingan's household, the system popped up with a new message stating that the task was complete as Grandpa Morong and the Black Serpent had successfully executed their task. The system message surprised Pingan because it had just been sent before dusk. Pingan reminded himself that he needed to entertain the Morong family more effectively the next time since he was proud of what Grandpa Morong did. While sitting on a chair outside his house, he told the system to accept the reward for the successfully accomplished work. The system obliged, drawing the lottery reward. Although Pingan thought it was total nonsense to say that he was unlucky to have picked up the sword from the mountain, he hoped he would have a better weapon this time. The bronze sword overheard Pingan declaring him useless, which saddened him. the system displayed a second notification stating that the draw had been successful. Suddenly, an odd item dropped hard on top of Pingan's stomach, making him cough. As he looked into the peculiar thing the system had awarded him, he realized that he had received a super fertilizer as his gift. Unexpectedly, Pingan grinned at his award because he wanted to grow something in his yard. He called Linger out of the house and asked if she wants more watermelons, and they would go buy watermelon seeds. Thereafter, Linger eagerly followed Pingan. Pingan and Linger took a trip through the town, and they stopped at a fruit store to purchase some watermelon seeds. However, an unknown person was trailing behind them. Moments later, they got back home, and with the assistance of his Linger, Pingan started plowing in the soil. After the earth had been plowed, he distributed the watermelon seeds there before applying some of the system's super fertilizer. As Linger and Pingan finished their work, they were delighted. However, Pingan observed that he appeared slightly unkempt and peasant-like. Linger drew her brother's attention to the watermelon they planted, pointing out a finger to the watermelon growing. They were confused about what happened as it was just a minute ago that they planted the watermelons. Pingan theorized that the system's super fertilizer was what had caused the plant's rapid growth, claiming that, in contrast to the rubbish he had previously acquired, he had finally acquired something useful. However, after hearing their master's comments, the objects that Pingan acquired felt depressed. Linger asked Pingan if they could fertilize the watermelons they planted, but Pingan rejected his sister's proposal to fertilize the plants. He said that although the fertilizer the system gave was amazing, it couldn't be used much. He headed inside the house to change out of his filthy clothes and get ready to cook. Linger, who was now dejected, switched her attention to the fertilizer and had the thought to simply put additional fertilizer into the watermelons without her brother's approval. She continued to apply the super fertilizer to the watermelons since she was eager for them to ripen. When the watermelons started to develop and grow, Pingan asked Linger what was that sound. Linger had a worried expression on her face as if she was afraid of her brother scolding her. She concocted an excuse to escape her brother's scolding. Pingan was subsequently intrigued by the potential of the fertilizer and said that the fertilizer is even more magical than he thought. However, he saw that the bulk of the fertilizer had been taken out of the sack. Linger told Pingan that she doesn't know and that maybe the wind blew some of the fertilizer away. Pingan believed her sister was beyond help. Meanwhile, an unknown person was watching Linger and Pingan as they exchanged words in the yard through the partially open door. Pingan told Linger to wash her hands, which Linger quickly obeyed. Pingan thought that the watermelon ripened so hard, and he doubted that the watermelon could be eaten. He told Linger before she rushes to eat, he will try it first. Unaware that Linger was currently devouring watermelons left and right, he warned young Linger not to consume the watermelons too quickly lest she choke and that no one would attempt to steal them from her. Linger ate the watermelons rapidly while not paying attention to what her brother said because she was worried he could offer them to the stranger outside their home. Pingan glanced through the door with a puzzled expression and observed that it was only partially open. As Pingan opened the door to investigate what her sister had said, he was surprised to see a little kid. The young child was frightened after being caught by Linger and Pingan. However, Pingan tried to calm him down by asking if there was something wrong. The young boy didn't respond, which made Pingan think that he had scared the kid. Pingan then asked if the kid was a cultivator, but when the youngster didn't respond, he thought that there might be a system bug or that the child was simply plain stupid. Despite his disappointment that the child couldn't communicate, Pingan still told the kid to take the watermelon and urged him to return home right away so his family wouldn't be concerned about his whereabouts. After shutting the door and walking away, the child finally had a chance to catch his breath and admitted aloud that he was terrified. When Pingan first heard the child's voice, he was amused that the child could speak. So, he opened the door and closed it just after. However, the young boy was startled, and he shivered when he saw Pingan again. He believed that cultivators in their world were weird, and there wasn't a single normal person. Fear made the youngster run from Pingan's home as quickly as he could. For the first time, the kid was so terrified that he couldn't even voice a word when he sensed the presence of countless treasures within Pingan's home. He thought that Pingan was aware of him following them and didn't expect that such a high-level expert was living in seclusion in just a small town. However, he was lucky that Pingan didn't blame him. While eating his watermelon, the young boy speculated that perhaps Pingan didn't want to be bothered, which is why he resided in a remote area. He also thought that he advanced by one major realm, and the watermelon that Pingan had given him may have helped to improve. He even thought that he was underestimating Pingan and must be the reason for the sudden rise of a nearby sect. The kid murmured to himself that the sect might not be as simple as they imagined with his grandpa. During this time, Pingan's household was on alert, and he thought that tightly locking the door would help them after noticing that a stranger was watching their home. After all, the house was filled with treasure, and someone might steal it, especially the super fertilizer. Pingan then ran across Xiao Linger and without hesitation, questioned whether Xiao Linger had a cultivation base. Xiao Linger was sweating as she struggled to comprehend his brother's serious question. She thought that her acting was so good, just like immortal, to suit Pingan's taste, and asked herself how did he find out. When Pingan awaited Xiao Linger's response, she finally responded and did not dispute the existence of her cultivation base. Surprised by Xiao Linger's answer, Pingan inferred that he lacked a cultivation base compared to his younger sister. Nonetheless, Xiao Linger responded and told her brother that she had much lower cultivation than most around her. Pingan expressed his surprise that Xiao Linger had kept it hidden from him for so long and asked her what realm she was in currently. Without hesitation, Xiao Linger glanced at the woman behind her brother in the peach tree and spoke to Pingan, stating that she was currently in the chi gathering stage. Curious, Pingan turned around to see what Xiao Linger was looking at, but there was nothing there. Despite this, Pingan inquired further about his sister's cultivation, asking when she began practicing. Stuttering, Xiao Linger was searching for an answer to prevent Pingan from discovering her cover, and the peach tree woman whispered an answer behind his brother's back. Pingan quickly turned around to see who was standing behind him, but there was no one there. He wondered why Xiao Linger always turned to look behind the peach tree when she spoke, suspecting that someone might be providing her with answers. Scratching his head in confusion, Pingan walked away from the peach tree. Later, while serving watermelons to Xiao Linger in the dining room, he warned her that what she did was wrong for keeping it a secret from him and threatened to seize all of her watermelons the next time she refused to reveal the truth. In response, Xiao Linger denied that it was her fault and told him that Sister Peach Tree had taught her everything. Pingan was bewildered by Xiao Linger's response and didn't understand which sister she was referring to. Pingan reasoned that everything on the planet that had lived for a long period could spiritually advance and become immortals, following the cultivation book. As a result, he approached the peach tree, confident that nothing strange had transpired since the system had delivered the sapling there 5 years prior. However, he thought that the seeds sent by the system might possibly differ. Sister Peach Tree was upset that Xiao Linger had disclosed her to Pingan in exchange for a watermelon. The system appeared in front of Peach Tree and instructed her to find a solution to avoid being exposed, else, consequences would be implemented. Sister Peach Tree accepted the task and cast a spell towards Xiao Linger, which could control a person's mind. In response, Xiao Linger made up a story to prevent Pingan from trying to look into the peach tree any further and to make Pingan forget what Xiao Linger had said earlier. Pingan inquired about Xiao Linger's well-being out of concern for her, but as he touched her forehead, he got burned. As Pingan looked at the watermelon he grew in his yard, he thought that the fertilizer's side effects might have caused it. With a frowning face, he carried his little sister, who had a fever, and tried to assure her that it was just a normal fever. Despite this, Pingan encouraged his sister to remain strong and not give up hope. Meanwhile, Long Outyen was meditating in a dense forest when he was disturbed by a massive explosion nearby. Suddenly, a man appeared in front of him and informed him of his cunning ways. Alarmed by the sudden presence of an unknown person, Long Outyen wondered why the person would dare to attack him without warning. Long Outyen was informed by Bai Gufeng, the elderly man who abruptly set off the explosion, that he had reached the realm of the earthly immortals and had come to greet him. Outraged, Long Outyen questioned him about the logic of greeting someone with an explosion. Bai Gufeng believed the explosion to be extremely powerful, yet Long Outyen easily avoided it without breaking a sweat. Bai Gufeng thought that maybe Pingan helped Long Outyen break through the earth's immortal realm. However, Long Outyen mockingly told Bai Gufeng that he was too lazy to argue with him. He consistently made fun of Bai Gufeng, pointing out that the last time they saw each other, he was still in the peak of the Mahayana realm, and now that they met again, he was still in the same realm. Annoyed by Long Outyen's constant mockery, Bai Gufeng told him to stop talking if he had no knowledge of the Mahayana realm. Long Outyen, in turn, boasted to Bai Gufeng that he was much more attractive than him. Bai Gufeng, enraged by Long Outyan's words, yelled at him in frustration. Xiao Linger was sick and lying in bed, and Chen Pingan was standing next to her with a worried look. He murmured, "How come she has a fever all of a sudden?" He told himself that the watermelon had no problem at all, as he had tried it. He believed that the reason why Xiao Linger was sick was that she was a cultivator. Just then, someone knocked on Chen Pingan's door and asked for him. It was Grandpa Morong, and Chen Pingan welcomed him, telling him he didn't need to ask to enter every time. Grandpa Morong's eyes widened as he noticed the enormous watermelons. He was surprised that Chen Pingan's yard was empty a few days ago. Still in awe, Grandpa Morong noticed that the amount of spiritual energy was thousands of times stronger than the most advanced spiritual medicine he had ever seen. Flustered, Chen Pingan reasoned that Grandpa Morong might be interested in the watermelons. He proceeded to think that the book stated that if practitioners consume too much spiritual energy that cannot be refined, they will experience a fever phenomenon. Chen Pingan asked Grandpa Morong if the watermelons might be elixirs. He thought that the fertilizer was magical and that maybe it could grow an elixir or something, for he didn't have any idea about cultivation, and that kind of thing must be possible. Grandpa Morong responded that Chen Pingan must be joking and didn't believe that they were elixirs. Chen Pingan was relieved that they weren't elixirs, as it would have been difficult if they were. He reasoned that Xiao Linger must have had a cold stomach, which caused her fever. Grandpa Morong informed Chen Pingan that the sect was now open and welcoming disciples. He asked if Chen Pingan would like to visit. Chen Pingan said he couldn't attend because he had to take care of Xiao Linger, who was sick and resting at home. Grandpa Morong agreed but added that Chen Pingan had a unique excuse. He didn't believe Xiao Linger was sick because she was immortal. Chen Pingan told Grandpa Morong that he couldn't let Xiao Linger eat all the watermelons. He gave one to him and asked him to share it with everyone at the ceremony. Grandpa Morong accepted the watermelons, thinking that it was a great opportunity for them. He responded that if Chen Pingan wanted to give it to them, it would be done as he wished. Grandpa Morong stored the watermelon on his ring, thanked Chen Pingan, and told him that he would go back to the sect to do the opening. Chen Pingan told him to forget about gathering 10,000 apprentices and that it was all done now. Meanwhile, in the Pingan sect, the newly recruited disciples gathered. Morong Su asked Grandpa Morong if Chen Pingan would visit today. Grandpa Morong responded that Chen Pingan had other arrangements and wouldn't be coming. Just then, the princess greeted Grandpa Morong, and he asked Morong Su to accompany her. The celebration began, and the emperor of the ancient empire approached Grandpa Morong and asked if he was free to have a conversation. Grandpa Morong was confused and disturbed by another Taoist, a supreme emperor of the Shaoxin mountain, and asked if he was allowed to speak with him. Someone had been planning to capture Morong Su and use her as a corpse weapon. However, as she turned around, she noticed the stranger's smug expression, which left her feeling uneasy. The stranger seemed puzzled when the sect introduced Long Outyan, the owner of Tianzuan Tower, Shendanting, the president of Shushan Immortal Academy, and Bai Gufeng and his grandson. The three powerhouses announced that they had come to congratulate the new sect. This left the stranger shocked and confused. Annoyed, Long Outyan commented on why Bai Gufeng had come to the ceremony, revealing that he had heard about Chen Pingan. Grandpa Morong then informed the crowd that the three seniors had come to visit and apologized for not welcoming them in advance. Long Outyan responded politely to Grandpa Morong, saying that they had already met before. Frowning, Grandpa Morong thanked Long Outyan for saving his life last time. Long Outyan replied that there was no need to be so polite and that he didn't mind just calling him Brother Long from now on. Shendanting then introduced himself and asked that they also call him Brother Jin, apologizing for coming uninvited. Bai Gufeng was the last one to introduce himself but was interrupted by Long Outyan, who called him a jerk. This infuriated Bai Gufeng, who cursed Long Outyan. Grandpa Morong stated that the three of them must be there because of Chen Pingan and invited them inside the sect. Shendanting asked Grandpa Morong to wait and presented him with a gift, a painting called Dragon and Phoenix, Qingxiang, stating that if they gazed at it for a long time, they would have an epiphany and improve their cultivation. In shock, Grandpa Morong questioned whether the gift Shendanting presented could be the treasure of the town courtyard of Shushan Immortal Academy. Shendanting agreed with a smile, responding that it was a suitable gift for a newly established sect. Bai Gufeng presented his gift, a high-quality spiritual meridian that was good for improving cultivation. Long Outyan interrupted again, mocking Bai Gufeng for only presenting them with a high-grade spiritual vein. Long Outyan then presented his gift, an absolute-grade spiritual vein, which he suggested Grandpa Morong throw Bai Gufeng's spiritual vein in the toilet for being unsuitable. Annoyed, Bai Gufeng hysterically asked if Long Outyin was competing against him, but Long Outyin mockingly responded that he was just better than him. Bai Gufeng then gave his second gift a purple gold card with a 10% discount on everything they bought in his treasure haul. Shindaning's eyes grew wide, thinking that 10% off was like giving away half of his treasure haul. However, Long Outyin was humiliated and replied that it was still garbage. He stated that he and Tianzuan Tower were always at Chen Pingan's disposal and that Bai Gufeng dared to make Chen Pingan pay after buying something at his haul. Now angry at Long Outyin, Bai Gufeng informed them that he would send his grandson to Chen Pingan's sect starting today. Long Outyin angrily replied that he was shameless and had clearly planned to let his grandson join the sect. Bai Gufeng rebutted that if Long Outyin had the ability, he could also send his grandson and proceeded to call him a 100-year-old virgin. Shindanting thought that it's hard if the two of them kept fighting. The stranger arrived and assumed that all the experts had come to greet the newly established sect. He couldn't believe what had just happened and proceeded to believe that there was a terrifying existence behind the sect. However, one of his subordinates whispered about what they should do and whether they should go ahead with their plans on capturing Morong Su. Shocked, the stranger scolded his subordinate to shut up, but Morong Su turned around and looked at them. Troubled, he advised his subordinate to look around before speaking. Pointing at the strangers, Morong Su informed her grandfather that those people were trying to cause trouble. 3 experts asked at the same time if anyone dared, and Long Outyin grabbed the stranger, asking him what he was saying earlier. Long Outyin stated that the stranger appeared to be from the Purgatory sect and that he was unaware that he was in their brother's sect and dared to cause trouble. Bai Gufeng asserted that the Purgatory sect had no money but had the audacity to disregard his treasure haul, while Shindanting also mentioned the sect's academy. Scared, the stranger explained that there must be some misunderstanding because he was only there as a guest. Grandpa Morong agreed that it had to be a misunderstanding and asked them to forget about it because the stranger was only a visitor. He asked the stranger if he had bought a gift with him and that it was fine if the quality wasn't great because they weren't picky, and that he could just use the quantity to make up for it. The stranger had no choice but to give them a large sum of valuable treasure. Grandpa Morong stated that he had no idea there would be so many treasures, which the 3 experts agreed on. Clenching his fist, the stranger threatened to kill them all in his thoughts if those 3 experts left. Long Outyin informed Grandpa Morong that he lived on the top of a nearby hill and would pay him a visit when he had the time. Suddenly, the black serpent appeared and transformed into a dog, worrying Grandpa Morong. With heavy breathing, the dog responded that he couldn't beat the man in the sky. Grandpa Morong and the others looked up at the sky, noticing the man, Chen Yanming, who said he had a big harvest during his trip to the moral world. Chen Yanming found partially digested dragon essence in a dragon, but he won't be able to turn into a real dragon in the future. With a threatening tone, he told the ants below to listen carefully, that if they didn't want the formation to be destroyed, they should close the formation and hand him over the black dragon, or otherwise, he will destroy them. Frightened, Grandpa Morong asked the immortal if the dragon belonged to a certain existence and not his sect's guardian beast, and if he wanted the dragon, he should ask Chen Pingan. Chen Yanming considered what Grandpa Morong told him as a refusal and gave him 3 seconds to reconsider. Suddenly, a bronze sword appeared and told him what he was going to do now. Chen Yanming turned around and noticed the bronze sword, and asked what he was doing in the place. Bronze Sword replied that he didn't need to report his whereabouts to him and that the sect was under his protection, and that he should be embarrassed for being there, and called him a waste of the immortal realm. Chen Yanming realized that the Bronze Sword was guarding a mortal sect and wondered what happened there, and thought that the Bronze Sword's strength was no joke. Chen Yanming turned around and dashed away from the Bronze Sword. Bronze Sword asked why Chen Yanming was running and told him that he did not allow him to run away. He then kicked Chen Yanming so hard that he fell to the ground, causing a huge explosion. After that, Bronze Sword instructed Chen Yanming to go back to the sect and apologize. However, Chen Yanming, who was still in a rebellious mood, told Bronze Sword that he did not want to apologize to an ant swarm. As a result, the Bronze Sword proceeded to beat Chen Yanming until he was wounded. Sometime later, Chen Yanming kneeled in front of the sect and apologized for his behavior. The Bronze Sword gave Grandpa Morong Chen Yanming's belongings and told him to leave and inform the others that he was protecting the sect. Chen Yanming quickly obeyed and left, but not before stating that he would definitely be back. Grandpa Morong then called everyone's attention and announced that now that the situation had been resolved, they would officially accept 10,000 disciples over the next 3 days. 3 days later, Pingan received a system message that the mission to recruit 10,000 disciples was now complete. He was surprised and murmured to himself that Grandpa Morong had not lied to him. Another system message appeared, congratulating Pingan on completing his 900 tasks and stating that the system would now be upgraded to the highest version. A reward would be given based on Pingan's wishes, and he could now obtain simple items or repair his cultivation. Pingan was surprised and began to think about how he could become stronger through cultivation. However, the system update suddenly stopped at 99%, which made Pingan scream angrily and ask the system what strange resources it was downloading and why it was taking so long to upgrade. He then turned around and scolded Linger for not learning her lesson from her previous fever and told her that she was not allowed to eat watermelon. Linger responded that the watermelons had nothing to do with her fever, but Pingan noticed that the system update had been completed. He was taken aback when the system turned to gold, and a new message popped up, stating that it had now been upgraded to ultimate mode. The host would now choose the future development direction. The first message stated that the host needed to wait for a task to trigger, and after completing it, some items would be randomly rewarded. The Raiders mode, on the other hand, featured an automatic selection of 100 realms from across the globe. Completing missions in these realms would allow the host to gain strength and power, and with every level completed, the host would grow closer to invincibility. Confused, Pingan asked if the Raiders mode meant that he had to fight people and doubted himself, as he did not think he could fight anyone in his current state. However, another message popped up, stating that the second choice could give the host the initial cultivation base since the host had no spiritual roots and could not improve by himself. The cultivation base of each level would always be at its peak. Surprised by the second choice, Pingan selected it, and his mode changed. He was now at the peak of Danton formation, and he felt that his spiritual roots had been repaired for the first time in 5 years. He then formed a chi ball and fired it toward the wall, making a small crack. Amused, Pingan told himself that he could now use cultivation techniques, but also thought that it was too strong. Meanwhile, Linger watched in the back and thought that Pingan's chi was so weak. Pingan called for Linger, and she quickly obeyed his command. He then asked her to hit him with all her strength, just like last time, stating that he would not dodge at this time. Linger obeyed his request and thought to herself that this was an opportunity to get back at Pingan for confiscating her watermelon. Surprisingly, Pingan noticed that Linger was mobilizing chi. Outside Pingan's home, a huge blow had been dealt. With one eye open, Pingan asked if anything had happened. Amused that he felt nothing, he complimented himself. Linger responded, accusing him of cheating and suggesting that it was because of the outfit he was wearing. Phoenix frowned, wondering when his master would regain his strength, and how it was still awkward for him to see Pingan in such a state. The peach tree responded telepathically, stating that Pingan was the strongest existence in the past after so many reincarnations. Chopper replied, acknowledging that it was Pingan's decision and that they didn't have any right to interfere. Reflecting, Chopper stated that he recalls Pingan's invincible appearance from before. Pingan, in the past, was having tea and asked who was interrupting his enjoyment. At the time, he was alone in the face of a group of people capable of destroying the world with a single move and within a blink of an eye. Pingan from the past told the group of people to come on together because he didn't want to waste his time. Blood was spilled, and the group of people attacking Pingan was dead. The bronze sword had no idea that Pingan was once powerful, and this infuriated Chopper, who screamed at the bronze sword. A system message popped up, stating that the first level was ready, asking if Pingan was going to enter. Surprised, Pingan told himself that the system arranged a task so quickly and that it was so much better than waiting for a new task. However, a stranger arrived, looking for Pingan. Pingan recognized Grandpa Morong's voice and asked the system to wait a minute. Grandpa Morong smiled and told Pingan that he had bought the dog back. Pingan replied that Grandpa Morong didn't need to bring back the dog with him. Grandpa Morong responded that they were now done accepting apprentices and that the dog wanted to spend more time with Pingan. Flustered, Pingan inquired whether the dog wished to spend time with him. He asked if the dog was strong and if it didn't bite, thinking that now that he has cultivation, he shouldn't be afraid. Grandpa Morong responded that the dog was very strong and assured Pingan that it believed in Buddhism and also fasting and would never hurt people indiscriminately. Pingan was perplexed because he couldn't believe it was still a demonic beast despite fasting and practicing Buddhism. Pingan looked at the dog and asked if Grandpa Morong was telling the truth. He asked the dog to sit and extend his hand, which the dog quickly did. Pingan hugged the dog and told him that he was a good boy and that from now on, he would be called Blackie, and asked him to follow him around. Grandpa Morong was amused that only Pingan could play with the dragon. Pingan spoke to Grandpa Morong and asked if he could lend him 3rd or 4th grade pills. Grandpa Morong was confused about Pingan's intention for using garbage pills, but it was evident that he was suppressing his chi to the first layer of Dantian formation, indicating that he may be up to something new. He took off his ring and gave it to Pingan, which contained 3rd and 4th grade healing pills, and told him that he could just go back to the sect and get higher grade pills if he needed them. Grandpa Morong assured Pingan that he did not need to borrow anything, as the entire Pingan sect belonged to him in the first place. Pingan expressed his gratitude and told him that it was enough. However, he asked about the watermelon from the last time and insisted on taking 2 more. Grandpa Morong asked if it was alright, to which Pingan responded that it was only a few melons and Xiao Linger did not eat much. However, Xiao Linger became infuriated and screamed that she ate a lot of watermelons. Afterward, Grandpa Morong thanked Pingan for the watermelons and suggested that the pills could be traded for immortal watermelons, indicating that Pingan might have a vested interest in their growth. Grandpa Morong believed that Pingan could not find any reason to borrow the pills, so he used the watermelons as an excuse. He considered Pingan to be really kind. Pingan reasoned that 2 watermelons could be exchanged for a large number of 3rd and 4th grade pills. He also thought that Grandpa Morong was afraid, which is why he hesitated to accept them. Despite this, he still believed that Grandpa Morong was really kind. Pingan told himself that with the pills and the dog helping him break through the level, it should be a lot easier. However, he still needed a weapon. He considered using a kitchen knife but thought it was ugly. He then remembered the bronze sword and decided to take it. Pingan noticed that the sword had sharpened and he realized that holding it would be difficult without a scabbard. Suddenly, the bronze sword began to glow and he was surprised when a scabbard appeared on its own. He thought that it was worthy of being a magical weapon and tucked the sword around his waist. After calling the dog, he instructed the system to begin. Curious about their destination, the dog asked the bronze sword where they were going. In response, the bronze sword told him to just follow and not ask too much. Sweating, the dog noticed a system message that appeared and stated that it covered up the bronze sword's strength so that he wouldn't appear too strong in front of Pingan. Realizing that the system had strong coercion, the bronze sword reasoned that it must be the mistress, as his big brothers had kept mentioning. Soon, the mistress appeared and mumbled that she had finally progressed to the next stage. She added that she had not anticipated having to take so many detours and that it took so much time. She mentioned that it won't be long before they meet. Upon arriving in the northern region, Pingan was impressed by the liveliness of the bustling metropolis before him, deeming it a truly worthy city. Suddenly, a system message popped up and notified him that his name in this kingdom would be Long Out Yin. Furthermore, his mission was to let everyone in the kingdom know of his existence and the reward would increase him in one major realm. Pingan was perplexed and wondered why the system would want him to use Long Out Yin's name. He mumbled that he would try to notify everyone in the country of his existence. However, he was unsure about the effectiveness of this tactic. To seek clarity, he called out to a stranger and asked for his opinion on the matter. Unfortunately, the stranger was not helpful and responded angrily, saying that Pingan was sick. Scratching his head in confusion, Pingan agreed that the system might not work for everyone. Just then, another stranger grabbed Pingan and introduced himself as Wang Dague. Wang Dague was amazed by Pingan's physique and assumed that he must be a cultivation genius. However, Pingan was annoyed and explained that he had no money, cheats, or resources. To this, Wang Dague responded that he was not selling anything. He simply wanted to know if Pingan was interested in forming a team to participate in an upcoming competition. Curious, Pingan turned back and asked Wang Dague about the tournament. Wang Dague explained that Jianwu Kingdom places great emphasis on martial arts and will hold a martial arts tournament to celebrate the prince's birthday. The competition will consist of teams of 5, and Wang Dague's team already had 3 members. Wang Dague approached Pingan and inquired if he was interested in the contest. He also mentioned that his cultivation level was at the 1st level and that he was still under 30 years old. After careful consideration, Pingan thought that participating in the contest could help him complete his task and allow him to practice with people of the same level. However, he was also aware of the need to be cautious and guard against other competitors. Pingan responded to Wang Dagui, expressing his interest in the contest, but regretfully mentioned his current commitments. Wang Dagui felt disappointed but agreed to Pingan's response. To encourage Pingan to give it further thought, Wang Dagui suggested they could meet again later at the tea house. Pingan waved goodbye, assuring Wang Dagui that they will see each other later. Feeling rejected, Wang Dagui returned to the tea house and muttered to himself. However, a young woman approached him and suggested that he should look for another person to join the competition.